Hello everyone, welcome to my classroom. I'm Neetwan Thomas, working as the Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, SNIT Adoor. I'm here to teach you Principles of Management, which is being taught for S6 KTU BTech students. We've been dealing with Module 4, of which we have learned about decision making, the factors affecting decision making, and the various limitations of decision making. And in today's class, we'll be dealing with the evaluation of alternatives. So in decision making, we have learned that there'll be different alternatives that we'll be choosing from for a decision making to be done effectively. So in today's class, we're learning how to evaluate these alternatives. So once an alternative have been found out, the next step in planning is to evaluate them and select the one that will best suit the present situation, or the one best alternative which will help us to attain our goal. Evaluation is required to select the best alternative for implementation. That is why we are doing evaluation. So this is a point of ultimate decision making. So evaluation of alternative is a point of ultimate decision making. So while evaluating alternatives, we should consider the qualitative and quantitative factors. So what are these qualitative and quantitative factors? So quantitative factors are those which can be measured numerically. So quantitative factors are those which can be measured numerically. For example, the number of units sold. So in a shop, if you sell 1 kilogram of sugar, that is having some numerical value, right? So that is a quantitative factor. And qualitative factors are those which is intangible in nature. That is, which cannot be seen with our naked eyes. That is intangible factors like performance of workers, quality of a labor, and the relationship between a manager and a worker. These are qualitative factors which cannot be measured numerically or which are intangible in nature. So to evaluate and compare the intangible factors in planning, a manager must first recognize these factors and determine whether a reasonable quantitative measurement can be given to them or not. Because if we cannot evaluate on a qualitative factor, then it is difficult for proper evaluation of the alternative. So a qualitative factor can be considered to a quantitative factor by some factors. So these are the two factors which affect evaluation of alternatives. Our next topic is selecting from alternatives. So we've already evaluated on the alternatives. Now you're selecting from the alternatives. So experience, experimentation, and research and analysis are the three common approaches usually employed in selecting from alternatives. So how to select from alternatives? First one is experience. So experience. So what is experience? It is something which has happened in the past. So it is a great guide. Reliance on past experiences plays a big role in decision making. Experienced managers usually believe that the things they have successfully accomplished and the mistakes they've made provide a suitable guide in the future. Experience helps a great deal to develop the ability of exercising good judgment. However, any person who is taking a decision from the alternative should be very careful, because it can lead to a negative effect also. It can be dangerous too, because most of the people fail to recognize the underlying reason for their mistakes or failures. So experience plays a great role. But how can it affect negatively? The first reason is people will fail to recognize the main reason, the root cause of their mistakes. They do not understand why this mistake or failure has happened. So that is one thing. And secondly, past experience may not be applicable to new problems which need new solutions. So every time we will not get the same problems and we should use the same solution. So every time we'll have new problems which need new solutions. So a person should carefully analyze the experience instead of blindly following it. If you understand what happened in the experience, then you can use a suitable method in your new problems also. So experience can be useful on the basis of decision making. That is the first alternative for selection. Second one is experimentation. So this is a very usual way of doing experimentation, trying one of the alternatives and see how it goes on, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll go on for the next alternative, and likewise it happens. So that is experimentation, trying out new alternatives and see what happens to the final result. So this kind of experimentation is often used in scientific inquiry. And this method should be used quite often in management, as it is trying various alternatives. A manager can be sure about the best way. So a manager can be only sure about the best way, or he can find out the best way by doing experimentation. That is by seeing or trying out different alternatives. That is experimentation. Thirdly, it is research and analysis. Research and analysis. So one of the best techniques for selecting from among the alternatives when a major decisions are involved is research and analysis, because in research and analysis we'll be very well sure about what the problem is, because we are doing research on this. This approach means solving a problem by understanding it at first. That is, first we'll understand thoroughly what the problem is and find out a solution. So the solution of the planning problem and making a decision about it involves breaking down of the problem into its component parts and studying their various quantitative and qualitative aspects, as we've discussed earlier. So these are the selecting from alternatives method. So from here we'll choose a solution, or a choice is made. So hope you've understood on these evaluation of alternatives and selecting from the alternative methods. Thank you.